he's a bit of a Patrick Bateman character, that there is this seeming emptiness within that seems to be covered up quite well by this material decadence and reflecting these values that are in themselves kind of empty.
Yeah, and there's that's the bringing up the American Psycho, and that's in the book too. There's a version of that in the book, and it is something that and that I can't remember when the movie came out. The book came out, I think, in the late '80s, and it's very much, the '80s were very much a decade of all of this that we're talking about right now. I mean, that's when Donald Trump came into his own, of course, as a fictional character. I mean, that's the thing too, is that essentially Donald Trump is a work of fiction. Nothing about him is actually true. And Mary does a great job in the book of showing, just how what a Potemkin individual he is. The extent to which he is this two-dimensional creation, behind which there's essentially nothing.
Well, that's McAdams brings up in his Atlantic profile, which I found very interesting, because all of the arguments against profiling him psychologically is that, well, it's just an act. But McAdams says, well, it seems like all he is this act. We never see him out of the act. So even if like this isn't who he is, there doesn't seem to be anything under that. So he's almost become kind of like his mask.
Yeah, exactly. He faked it until he made it horrible for us. Whether or not there is anything there in an individual, especially an individual in public life who influences the rest of us, whether or not there's anything, behind the persona doesn't matter. The persona is what affects us. And it's, in his case, he's probably the single most poisonous persona. God, I don't even know how far back to go in order to pick one. I don't want to overstate any cases, but he's people have died. You could argue in hundreds of thousands because of his persona.